Bless up, it's your boy Change Agent Cooper. Make sure you like this channel, subscribe to this channel, and click the bell for notifications so you can be alerted when this content is coming out. I have a lot to say and I'm going to say it. I have a lot of experience, strength, and hope, and I'm going to share it. For me not to, that would be blasphemy. You see, because change agents are always ready to share what works. There's no secrets, it's just special. So look, today I want to talk about racial equity, cultural specific services that lead to open doors to more resources. Straight like that. Culturally specific services. Now, it's a racial equity issue. You know what I'm saying? As people talk about racial equity and everything, I want to give you practical, tangible tactics to address inequities in your respective areas. You dig? I don't want to just use fancy words and leave you there. Check the box. No. Let's talk about the check, though. But anyway, today, racial equity, and we're talking about culturally specific services that will lead to open doors, right, to more resources. So when you start thinking about vocational rehabilitation, what I've learned in my work, y'all, is that vocational rehabilitation is an underutilized resource. Good God Almighty. It's an underutilized resource, and it leads to some resources that can really help a person get their stuff together. You feel me? Especially somebody that's coming from a dark place, like somebody that's coming out of incarceration, or somebody that's coming, you know, out of treatment, whatever it may be. You know, vocational rehabilitation is a very important resource. But what we run into, like I say, we talking about it being a racial equity issue. Remember me saying that? And let me talk about it. Let me talk about it while you'll probably see racial disparities in the demographics. Let me talk about it. I'm going to tell you why. Because what qualifies a person to get services at vocational rehabilitation is diagnoses. You know, there's a list of the SPMI. So you got severe mental illness, severe persistent mental illness. You know, there's a list, but it has to be something that has been a barrier. You know, it has been a barrier to a person being able to have gainful employment, right? And so when we're looking at this and we're looking at these diagnoses, and let's backtrack and talk about the racial equity component. Many people of color, and I'm gonna speak specifically to black right now. I'm gonna talk about black folks, okay? Many black people don't like to admit their mental health because of the mental health stigma in the community. Facts. You have professionals who are speaking up about it. You have, you know, celebrities, like I say, artists. You got G Herbo, a rapper. You got Taraji P. Henson, Charlamagne the God. More and more people are speaking up about mental health, right? What happens is we have to get more and more people to speak up so we can end that, we can slay that stigma slayers. Y'all hear me saying that? So for us to slay the stigma, to get people to be more open about their mental health, we have to address stigma slayers. If we're to address the racial disparities within you know, the resources with vocational rehabilitation, first we need to be thinking about what do we need to invest in the community-based organizations to slay the stigma pertaining to mental health, because the qualifier for those services is your mental health and your documentation. And if you're the kind of person that don't want to admit that you have mental health challenges, then that may keep a door closed on you, homie. And I've seen it and I've learned it. And I'm giving people the game because, like I say, it's not about keeping secrets. It's not about keeping secrets. It is about sharing what works. That's what we do as change agents. You see, gateway, not gatekeeper. Good God Almighty. But what I'm saying is, when we start looking at increasing awareness about vocational rehabilitation, not just with adults, with youth, with whoever, we have to make sure there is an investment in community-based organizations. And I'm here for the ride. I've had some great calls. Shout out to my people at VIA who have made some connections for me on a state level. These folks are educating me more and more about what it takes to become a vendor, about what it takes to secure services. And I'm very excited about what is to come, You know, many of y'all know, glory be to God, we secured a Department of Labor grant at the Land of Sky Regional Council. That's my full-time job. And, you know, we're serving 18 to 24-year-olds who live in high poverty, high crime areas, and getting them access to workforce development resources, because we all know that poverty is what precedes the criminogenic activity. You dig what I'm saying? Or in, you know, in regular jargon, let me just say, being broke and not having no paper is what leads to people breaking the law, and living that lifestyle is what leads to some of that mental health issues that people have because trauma. Come on now. Come on now, what y'all know about trauma? What y'all know about the trauma when you living in a community that's marginalized? Come on. I'm there. I'm there. I was there. I grew up there. I get it. Seen things I shouldn't have seen. And so anyway, with that program that we're doing, Vocational Rehabilitation is a main partner with that. And we're slaying stigma. So if you're a stigma slayer, I'm calling on you right now. Listen, we got to continue to slay stigma, y'all, so people can understand why they need to tap into their mental health services and make sure they, you know, they understand, like, hey, bro, like, there ain't nobody judging you, homie. I got mental health challenges too. And making sure they understand what resources are available with them admitting their stuff and how it can hold them back if they're not rigorously honest. We got to make sure that people understand we are a safe space. And that's why the community health worker movement is so important and effective, because community health workers are trusted people in the community, uniquely connected in the community, serving as links, liaisons, and intermediaries between the social services and the community. And some of those social services, when we start talking about workforce development, vocational rehabilitation, NC Works, WIOA, I'm here for the ride. And so when you think of VR, vocational rehabilitation, I want you to also remember that for us to slay the stigma, we have to be intentional about addressing, you know, the allocation of resources, and make sure that Black-led organizations are also getting resources so that they can slay stigma in communities, so that we can open doors for more resources after the stigma has been slayed. I hope that makes sense. If it didn't, holler at your boy. My email is coop@operationgateway.org. It ain't hard to find me. I'm going to keep on doing these talks. I really believe in vocational rehabilitation. I've seen them be able to do paid internships for folks. This is when they pay an individual while they go and work for somewhere up to 28 hours a week. I've seen them do on-the-job training contracts to where they pay 75% of the salary while a person trains at an employer. What better way to get a fair chance employment opportunity than by going to them and telling the employer, like, hey, we gonna pay a portion of the salary, homie, and we gonna provide mentoring for them. You gonna get yourself a good candidate, sir, ma'am. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But let me hush and go in here to this breakfast meeting I got with, as a matter of fact, breakfast meeting with a guy who was an award-winning, workforce development award-winning gentleman. He had an on-the-job training contract with the NC Works Resources, the Mountain Area Workforce Development Board. Taking them to breakfast this morning just to check in about life and everything. You know, that's how we do, man. Boots on the ground, community health workers, man. We in these streets, baby. We love it. We love helping people. It just gets me high. I get high for helping people. I used to do drugs. Now, I used to be the dope dealer. Now I'm the hope dealer. My name is Change Agent Cooper. I'm not the answer, but I'm for daggone sure the alternative. Bless up.